Earth to Keith Thurman. Come in, Keith Thurman. Duke Oden and Victor Atkinson, your boy has sold you a bill of goods. First it was going to be May 19th, then August 4th, then September 8th. Now they're saying October. He's in no rush to get back in the ring because he knows what's waiting. You can buy the marriage excuse or, once again, the injury excuse if you want. But your boy's a fraud. You two, you need to move on. The guy's a fraud. The one escape route I'll give you is that the Heyman contract, which says fighter A must be paid said amount within 2 years, and if said amount is paid, the contract automatically renews for another 2 years. Excuse me, because I'm losing my voice here. Maybe he's trying to wait it out. If that's the case, then Keith will either fight no earlier than March 4th, 2019, or if he fights before then, it'll be for a purse less than said amount on the contract. You follow me? So stay tuned and keep the faith, fellas. Boxing schedule. The final quarter of 2018, man, it's going to be hot, especially the month of September. September 1st, tomorrow night, Indio, California, on Facebook Watch. You got Ryan, King Rye, Garcia taking on Carlos Morales, 10-round lightweight fight. Ryan Garcia is an action fighter. Probably the fastest hands in boxing. Good power. Got the personality outside the ring. I mean, everything you'd want. Just as many people love him as those who hate him. So he's got everything you want as far as future star. He's Ryan right now is he's Zab Judah waiting to happen. Everything's happening fast, maybe a little too fast, and I'm sure there's something that's waiting for him. But if you know anything about boxing, and I'm not talking about the Floyd Mayweather Jr. era where you got to protect that O. That O is your lifeline. I'm talking about what do you do to bounce back from a loss? How do you handle yourself? Well, it appears that Ryan is going to run into a brick wall soon and maybe take an L. And then let's see how he handles it. September 8th. Superfly 3 card. We got Juan Francisco Estrada versus Felipe Uracuta. 12 rounds for the WBC Junior Bantamweight Eliminator. That'll be on HBO. Also, part of that card, Donnie Nietes versus Aston Pelist. 12 rounds for the vacant WBO Junior Bantamweight title. Now, if the two favorites win in those fights, we may see something down the line. And also Kazuto Ioka versus McWilliams Arroyo, 10-round Junior Bantamweight. Or Superfly, Super Flyweights. That same night on Showtime, you got Danny Garcia taking on Sean Porter. 12 rounds for the vacant WBC welterweight title. Now, if you want to say Keith Thurman vacated the belt, fine. He was going to get stripped. So it's like one of those. Let's say you're at work and you get caught doing something illegal. What they'll do, and let's say you're like one of the top people or person of power. What they'll do to allow you to save face, they'll say, listen, we can terminate you, or you can offer up your retirement and make it seem like, well, it's time to retire. So they give you a way out. So they're fighting for that belt that Thurman held, I'll put it that way. Which is kind of weird because Garcia lost a close one to Thurman. And now he's fighting for that same belt. That's a fight that people are excited about. And the warning I have is that it could be just as the fight can be just as much ugly as it is people think it'll be exciting. I'm leaning toward ugly, just the styles. Danny Garcia, very flat-footed. Sean Porter is more athletic type. Sometimes he's out there playing free safety and or linebacker, and I don't have a way to describe Sean Porter's boxing style. I know his nickname should be Lightning, because you tell Sean hit a guy in the same place twice, he just won't be able to do it. And I just look at an ugly fight, just rough and close quarters. Sean's going to try to come in, and then he's going to smother his own punches. Especially if he gets Danny Garcia against the ropes, he'll start throwing punches and smother himself. And it's like, Sean, take a step back and throw the punch that you're trying to throw. It's like he doesn't get it. And to be honest, I don't know if his father gets it either. So, but Danny being so flat-footed, it's kind of don't know what he's going to do to move if he has to move. I mean, Sean's going to be all over him. Speaking of taking a step back, I think what Danny might want to do is, as Porter comes in, Danny, you take a step back and catch Sean coming in. And if he can do that, mark my words, Sean Porter will taste the canvas, or come close to it. He'll be wobbled. He'll be hurt. On the flip side, Danny Garcia just can't avoid the right hand. It's just not in his DNA. And there's an overhand type right that's waiting for Danny. And Sean, because of the way he throws punches, that actually might work in his favor. So we'll see. But I'm expecting a fight in the trenches, and Danny's not what you call an inside fighter, and that's where Sean's going to be, in his chest. He'll probably use his head to get in to the chest. Danny Garcia is tailor-made for a guy like Sean Porter, but for some reason, you can't count Danny out in this one. And I'd make him a slight favorite. Don't know why, because his style is tailor-made for Sean Porter. But that's why they fight him, right? Also, Yordenis Ugas will fight Cesar Barrionuevo. in a WBC welterweight eliminator. So we'll see how that goes. Also on the card, Adam Konaki, or Konaski as some people say, but it's Konaki, versus Duke Olden's boy. He's back, Prince Charles Martin. I walk this earth like a god. Prince Charles, 10-round heavyweight fight, which should be interesting. Somebody's going to go somewhere if they win this fight, and to be honest, the way that Premier Boxing works, the loser will go somewhere also, I'm sure, and somehow be the B side in a big heavyweight fight within a year's time. It's just how it works. There's also a vacant WBO Women's Junior Welterweight title. So Amanda Serrano will be in that. She'll be fighting Yamila Esther Reynoso. So, and I think all four, if I'm not mistaken, I think all four of those will be televised. Maybe they'll do a little Showtime Extreme action, but at least 3 should be on regular Showtime. So you got the Superfly, that's September 8th, the Superfly 3 card. You got the Premier, the Showtime card. And then also September 8th, the return of Amir Khan, Birmingham, England. He takes on Samuel Vargas. I think that's a nice test. It's a decent test. September 14th, Fresno, California on ESPN and ESPN Deporte. Jose Ramirez, Antonio Orozco, 12 rounds for Ramirez's WBC Junior welterweight title. That's a fight. That's a fight. I'm going to favor the champion in that one. I think that Orozco has he slipped. He slipped, and if you remember his last fight, he went to war when you wonder if he had to, and Abel Sanchez, his trainer, implored him to listen, to heed his advice, but Antonio had other things on his mind. Now with Ramirez, with Orozco, he's had weight problems. I mean, he's been grossly off weight at least once, and overweight a couple of other times. So, you know, this is for a title, a world title. So hopefully he'll come in shape, and mentally as well as weight wise, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna try. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to that Fresno card or not. We'll see. One day later, September 15th, Las Vegas, HBO pay-per-view. Gennady, Triple G, Golovkin, Saul, Canelo Alvarez, the rematch, 12 rounds for multiple titles that Golovkin holds, the BA, the BC, the BO, IBO, that is. So that's one people want to see. We gave you a breakdown earlier. I'm going to give another final prediction right after the weigh-in. If I can, I'll be out there. So I'll try to, as soon as I get to my hotel, I'll give my thoughts. It'll probably be late Friday night, and by Saturday morning, we'll see what the final prediction is. Also on that card, Jaime Munguia versus Brandon Cook. 12 rounds for Munguia's WBO junior middleweight title, or super welterweight. Take your pick. Also on the card, David Lemieux versus Gary Spike O'Sullivan. 12 rounds, middleweights. Winner is going to be in a good place. in the title hunt. And also rounding out the pay-per-view, the return of Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez as he takes on Moises Fuente, 10 rounds. Junior bantamweight or super flyweight match. 1 week later, September 22nd, on DAZN, live from London, England, Anthony AJ Joshua takes on Alexander Povetkin. 12 rounds for Joshua's IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight title. Should be a good one. Von Mende and Luke Campbell rematch also for the WBC lightweight eliminator will also be on that card. So gotta get DAZN or get you a nice Android cable box or a what do you call it, a Fire Stick, if you don't purchase DAZN to watch it. So and then a week later, well, almost a week later, Friday, September 28th, Oakland, California on ESPN Plus. The return of Jose Uzcategui as he takes on Ezekiel Madema, 10-round light heavyweight. Also, Jerwin Ancajas, Alejandro Santiago, 12 rounds for Ancajas' IBF Junior bantamweight title or super flyweight. I'm sorry, junior bantamweight. I'm sorry. Yeah, super flyweight. Also, this is a cool test. It's a cool fight. Jesse Magdaleno takes on my man Rico Ramos. Rico Ramos, 10 rounds featherweight title. So that's not a bad card. I wish I was in the Oakland area, but unfortunately it won't be. And that's on ESPN Plus. And ESPN Plus keeps selling you on their motto, hey, if you want to watch this card, sign up, pay the $5, and then you can cancel and without any it won't be to your detriment. I mean, it won't be detrimental to you. You can, there's no fee or surcharge or what have you for canceling. So that's not a bad card. And speaking of Jose Uzcategui or Kadegi, take your pick. I'm not from Maryland. I don't claim Maryland. But speaking of Uzcategui, now I've always listen. I've criticized Gervonta Davis, and I catch it from the locals. I've criticized DC, Maryland, and Virginia fighters. I'm not a journalist for hire, and that's what they look for in Maryland and in Washington, D.C., as far as in Northern Virginia, as far as boxing is concerned. That's not me. I call it the way I see it, and I've always been critical of the Maryland Boxing Commission, and they are making a great case for why you should be. They've lifted the suspension of Leon Lawson II, who is the uncle of Andre Dirrell. And when the fight was in Maryland, he came into the ring and he took a couple of swings at Jose. He should have been suspended for life at the very least in Maryland. There should have been some type of criminal charges, which they were, but they kind of just... Anyway, bottom line is, and then Maryland didn't have the decency to notify anyone from Team Uzcategui. But you guys trust boxing, don't you? Anyway, that same evening, okay, it's the ESPN Plus card, September 28th. On Showtime, Devin Haney steps up. Nice test against Juan Carlos Burgos. 10 rounds. Lightweight division. That's we'll see how Haney handles himself. And that's in Temecula, California, on Showtime. That same night, in Saudi Arabia, of all places, World Boxing Super Series Final. We finally got there, folks. George Groves, Callum Smith, 12 rounds for Groves' WBA super middleweight title. Should be a good one. One day later, September 29th, Indio, California, on Facebook Watch, Jorge Linares makes his return against Abner Cotto. 12 rounds, junior welterweight. That should be good. So just like Ryan Garcia's fight tomorrow, this fight September will be on Facebook, so make sure you check it out. Same night, in Cologne, Germany. This was a joke, folks. We got Manuel Char versus Frez Oquendo. 12 rounds for Char's WBA regular heavyweight title. The WBA is a joke. I'm moving on. All the sanctioned bodies are, but anyway. September 30th, Ontario, California, on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Deporte. The return of the Clown Prince of Boxing. Your man and mine. Vicious Victor Ortiz. As he takes on John Molina Jr. 12-round welterweight. I guarantee you Victor's going to give you something to laugh at or scratch your head at. So make sure September 30th on Fox Sports 1. You check out my man Victor. October 6th, Chicago on DAZN. Got a nice card here. We got Jesse Vargas taking on Tomas Delorme, 12-round welterweights. I'm not sure if Delorme's part of the money team anymore. I don't know if anybody saw. I'm going to ask him if I see him when I go to Vegas. I don't know if anybody saw Delorme. He's driving a cab or Uber or what have you, and the guy was like, they were talking about him being part of the money team. He's like, I'm part of the team. I don't know about the money part. And he says, hey, they brought me here promising me all this money. That was going to be part of the money team, and I'm driving an Uber. So you tell me. Vargas versus Delorme. Also, Artur Beterbiev versus Callum Johnson. 12 rounds for Beterbiev's IBF light heavyweight title. Also, Danny Roman versus Gavin McDonald. 12 rounds for Roman's WBA junior featherweight title. These are 3 good fights. And finally, just in terms of name sake, Jarrell Baby Miller, you can call it Big Baby if you want, versus Tomas Adamek. 12 rounds. Those are 4 fights that would tempt someone to pay, what is it, $9.99 for DAZN, or get your Android cable box or your Fire Stick. Also on October 6th, from Bangkok, Thailand, we got Sarasket Sor Rungvisai versus Iran Diaz. 12 rounds for Sora Rungvisai's WBC Junior Bantamweight title. My voice seems like it's starting to come back. Those are all on October 6th. Must be, I'm not sure if that's a Friday or Saturday. And then one day later, October 7th in Japan, Naoya, excuse me, Naoya Inoue, excuse me, versus Juan Carlos Payano. 12 rounds for Inoue's WBA regular bantamweight title, and that's a World Boxing Super Series quarterfinal fight. October 13th, Omaha, Nebraska, ESPN and ESPN Deporte. We got Terrence Crawford. The return of Terrence Crawford. And he like Terrence Crawford, like Ramirez. When Ramirez fights in Fresno and Crawford fights in Nebraska, they pack him in. I mean, they sell those places out or come close to it. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that fight. Now, Terrence, he's going to have a few different options pending a victory in his next fight. And the rumored opponent is Jose Benavidez, which is David's, I think it's his brother, or what have you. Good fighter, undefeated. You know what? I'll save that for another video. But it's going to be interesting to see where Crawford, what they do after this fight. I'll just leave it at that. Also on that card will be Shakur Stevenson. October 20th in Boston on DAZN, we got Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andre, 12 rounds for Saunders' WBO middleweight title. Should be good. Also Katie Taylor, Cindy Serrano, 10 rounds for Taylor's WBO and IBF women's lightweight title. Also Tevin Farmer versus James Tennyson, 12 rounds for Farmer's recently won IBF junior lightweight title. Farmer really wanted to make that Gervonta Davis fight, and they turned it down. So we'll see how that plays out. And an interesting fight, I think it opens the show, or Kid Galahad versus Toka Khan Clary. 12 rounds, IBF featherweight eliminator. I like that fight. I hope I can get a chance to see it. October 27th, New York. Sergey Deverenchenko versus Daniel Jacobs. 12 rounds for the vacant IBF middleweight title that was stripped from Gennady Golovkin. Also Alberto Machado on the card, and Heather Hardy versus Shelly Vincent rematch for the vacant WO women's featherweight title. I think I was at that first fight. I think they fought on the undercard of Errol Spence Jr. and Leonard Bundu. And I think Vincent won, but they gave it to Hardy, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have notes in front of me, so, but I'm almost positive. Same night in Bulgaria, ESPN Plus, Kubrat Pulev, Huey Fury, 12 rounds. Also for the IBF heavyweight eliminator, also on DAZN in New Orleans. Regis Prograis, Terry Flanagan, 12 rounds Junior welterweights, and that's a World Boxing Super Series quarterfinal. November 3rd, ESPN Plus, Miguel Berchelt versus Mickey Roman. 12 rounds for Berchelt's WBC Junior lightweight title. And finally, December 1st, Quebec City, Adonis Stevenson, Alexander Voldik. Excuse me. Adonis Steven versus Alexander Voldik for Stevenson's WBC light heavyweight title. Now, sandwiched in between there, maybe you'll get a Spence fight, maybe you'll get a Mikey Garcia fight, but it's doubtful to be against each other. Maybe you'll even see Wilder defend his title versus Fury. Nothing's official yet. It just always seems to be something. And but that's pretty much the schedule. I'll chime in from time to time and give who I think should win. I've given him a couple on this video, but next video will be about the the Box Fan Expo. If you are in Las Vegas, September 15th, for that Golovkin versus Canelo rematch, you want to go to the Box Fan Expo. I will not steer you wrong. I think it costs about $30. It'll be the best $30 you spent in a long time. Trust me. I'll catch you.